When Kobe and I decided to create a podcast and coined it the Father Son Podcast, most would feel this is a gimmick for the podcast, and that couldn't be further from the truth. From the day Kobe was born, I introduced him to video games. This was a way of life for me, as I can remember my father buying me the Odyssey home system, where the cellophane field that clung to the TV determined what game you were playing. Kobe's love for video games grew, as did the bond of a father and a son. When I introduced him to online play, his world opened to new heights. He learned quickly that the incredible gaming experience wasn't just something shared between a father and a son, but there was an entire world that shared his passion for gaming. Gaming was just part of his upbringing, as school or sports was. We always made arrangements that a video game experience was just an arm's length away, even when we went on vacation. As Kobe got older, our experience took us to the road, experiencing events like the Great E3 to more modern events like Summer Game Fest, the Xbox Experience, IGN, and PAX. Kobe graduated from college and now works in the video game industry on the Xbox team. So, as you can see, it was nothing but natural progression to now share our experience and love of the industry through our podcast. Now sit back and enjoy the ride.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Father and Son Gaming Podcast right here on Active Reload Gaming. My name is Kobe, aka Kobe127. That is Kevin, aka Octane699. Happy Monday, all. Dad, how you doing? How was your weekend?
Not too bad. I actually finished Ghost of Yote, which was incredible.
There you go.
And I'm probably about halfway through. I went back to Silent Hill 2 remake. And I'm back to that, so I'm about halfway through that, enjoying it again.
Are you? I was gonna say, are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it actually. I didn't remember a lot of it because I played it back on the PS2, and I'm really enjoying it. There's parts of it that I'm like, oh, I remember that, and then there's parts like, wow, what a twist. I didn't remember that. So it's always good going back and playing the remake, especially a remake that's done as well as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to see how they enhance things or just remade them completely for the modern age. And also to, thinking about the weekend and stuff and today, to all the East Coast people, sorry, Puxatawny Phil saw his damn shadow. So y'all are screwed for another 6 weeks, it seems like. I know we had a lot of snow shovelers in the chat, so you get 6 more weeks of winter.
There's a whole bunch of groundhogs all across the country. In fact, up in Nova Scotia, they have a lobster that they bring out. So it's all good. But here's the fact about Puxatawny Phil is 90% of all the time that they've actually recorded it, he has seen his shadow, meaning more winter. But only 30% of the time was that a prediction true. So you don't want winter, you want them to see winter.
Well, this is going to be, Bombay says, insiders say he is correct 100% of the time. I guess all the groundhogs, they got to select their groundhog for it. But, hopefully it's a more tame winter for you guys, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening anytime soon. Over the weekend, I saw the movie Iron Lung. This is video game adaptation of an indie horror game by YouTuber Markiplier, which I had been following this project for a while. I grew up watching Markiplier, so I was always gonna go see this movie. But Iron Lung is a game that I never anticipated ever getting a live action adaptation, because it's a small horror game that is 1 hour long that takes place on a submarine, and you're in the submarine called the Iron Lung, and you have to go do an expedition and search the ocean of blood, because this event known as the Quiet Rapture happened, where all the stars and planets disappeared. So it's like this weird post-apocalyptic eldritch cosmic horror game that definitely isn't for the mass audiences at all. And Markiplier, self-funding it, self-publishing it, self-directing, self-acting, and had a $3 million budget. Absolutely, not even sweat, but like did amazing at the box office. It made $21.5 million. So this is a huge win for not only for games, but also for indie movies, because it shows that you don't need a big Hollywood studio or producer to really get your movie out there. As long as you have a lot of passionate fans and passionate filmmaking or artistry, you can get something made. So yeah, no, the movie was good. I liked it for what it was. I definitely have issues with it. I think it's a little too long in parts, especially, stretching an hour game to a 2 hour movie is quite something. But I think the areas where he did expand makes sense. But yeah, it was a good movie, very well acted for, Markiplier, a YouTuber. Like I was genuinely impressed given all the circumstances around it. And I really hope that we see more of these smaller games get an adaptation. You and I were texting earlier. The Mortuary Assistant is getting a film adaptation, which is another small indie horror game. So it's a very exciting time for the movie space as well. So I think this shows a lot of people that the passion and artistry is there.
Which I just finally pulled the trigger on the Mortuary's Assistant because it was only released as a PAL game, and I have that coming, so I can't wait to play that on PS5.
Yeah, because I know you wanted the physical, and that's true. It was only on a PAL, right, but it's been out on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation everywhere for quite Correct. A bit. But
I need the physical.
I don't blame you. But yeah, Iron Lung, it's good. I don't think it's for everyone, but if you do like cosmic horror, if you like like bottle episodes in television, like a prime example of bottle episode is, if anyone's seen Breaking Bad, The Fly, when he's just in the room getting crazy about a fly. If you like bottle episodes and seeing how unique something can get with one location, Iron Lung is definitely an interesting movie to watch. But all that being said, I digress. This is the Father and Son Gaming Podcast right here on Active Reload Gaming. You can follow us on all of our socials right here on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Spotify. We're at Active Reload Gaming. Twitch and Twitter or X, we're at ActiveRel. That is with an REL, ActiveRel Gaming. So feel free to go follow us over there. Top left corner is our Discord code. Feel free to scan that QR code to come in, chat with us. We post a whole bunch of updates and so on of what we are doing and what we are up to. That being said, today's episode, we got two topics going on. The first half of this episode is going to be a review of the 18th Attic, a paranormal anomaly hunting game. And the second half of this is going to be all about how we believe open world games are going to face a major shift in 2026 as we have three huge open world titles that seem to be genre defining. But with that being said, I want to start with the 18th Attic paranormal anomaly hunting game. So for those who don't know, the 18th Attic is a psychological horror game where you play as a man trapped in the attic with your cat companion armed only with a camera. Hunt down paranormal anomalies by taking their pictures and detecting their presence to unravel secrets of your past. Each photo unlocks a new memory. We would also like to thank Steel Krill Studios for providing us the code to play this game. I have played it. I was the reviewer on this one. I fully finished it. Beat it last night, so it is fresh in my mind. And Dad, I know you just started playing it today, based off of what I told you about the game. So, I want to get in to start reviewing the 18th Attic. I did play this on PC. This game is made in Unity engine. It does have full controller support, though. It actually has ultra-wide support. That is what I played it on, which was a really cool touch. Fully played it on mouse and keyboard. My entire game time took me around an hour to play. It is a very short title. It is meant to be digested in one sitting. The game is currently on Steam going for $7.99. After that, it's going to go up to $9.99. It is also important to note this is made by one developer, and this developer has been making plenty of horror games before. Notably, one of the biggest ones that this developer has made was a Backrooms game called the Backrooms 1998 found footage survival horror game. So this developer has been around for quite a bit, making some indie horror titles and a lot of anomaly hunting games. So yeah, I want to get into the 18th Attic. So where do we want to start with this? Because I know you have questions for me.
Yeah, I think the biggest question that I have is when you started to play this game, what did you think the game was going to be like? Because again, when I read what you read and I took a look at it and heard what you talked about, I mean, what did you think the game was going to be like?
Yeah, so to be honest, before I even went into this game, I only heard on Twitter, of all places, that there's this cat horror game coming out. And I'm like, that sounds like a funny concept. I saw this like short trailer that came out where it's like, hey, you're playing a horror game, And essentially, you have to pet the cat to not die. And I'm like, wow, what a funny concept that you have to rely on your little fur ball to keep you alive in this horror world. So I went in thinking that this game was going to be, not to put any like shame, but I thought it was going to be, kind of just like a gimmick, a little bit like, it's like a fun B movie kind of experience where you got this cat or so on. So that is what my initial assumption was going into this game. And I was completely wrong.
Did you?
I assumed.
Talking about the cat, did you think that the paranormal cat aspect, hook, did it confuse you? Like it's the paranormal cat. Like was it a hook or was it confusing?
Oh no, I think it's definitely it was definitely a hook because there's not many games out there that use a cat to heal you, and I think that is what hooked me the most because when I've never really played an anomaly hunting horror game, but I do play quite a bit of horror games, and all of them start to run together at a certain point, and they all kind of have similar different mechanics, just in different settings. You were talking about like Silent Hill earlier. Like to me, like in terms of gameplay mechanics, like Silent Hill operates not much differently than like a Resident Evil. It is that same survival horror experience, and you kind of have to do the same mechanics. All that being said, having a cat that you have to go to keep you sane in this, I thought was such a interesting aspect, and I think that is what hooked me the most. That is what put me to put this on my radar just because I've never really seen it done before.
Well, again, everybody that's been watching the podcast knows that I'm really deep into horror games right now. So with that said, how effective was this game in making you feel uneasy or tense?
I do want to loop back to one thing about the cat, though, because it is currently playing. You can customize the cat. The cat just starts off as like a gray cat's named Cookie, but you can actually customize between 4 different colors, the color of the cat, the name of the cat, and you actually get to give it a different collars, which I thought was pretty cute.
Yeah, I named mine Anubis and put a top hat on him.
I named my cat Corn after my partner's cat, who is a little orange cat. You might have seen Corn pop up on the podcast every now and then, especially in the closing video. Corn is a little loud orange cat. So yeah, you see this here. You go and you pet the cat and so on. But yeah, Bombay says W cat customization. Fully agree. I think that game got a couple extra points for me, being that you can customize the cat. So all that being said, when you were saying how effective was it at making you feel uneasy or tense,
Correct.
Right off the rip, you're like, oh, there's a cat. Oh, it's so cute. But then you start kind of walking around this room. And this is where we get into the main gameplay mechanic, which is what I want to explain. So essentially, you go into this attic, and what this gameplay is you're going to travel 55 floors, and you are repeating the attic over and over and over again. However, the way they make this game interesting is if you've ever done one of those puzzles or games before where you have 2 pictures side by side. It's like The Office. If anyone has seen The Office, when Pam gives Creed as a manager, when she's like, look at management wants you to figure out what the difference between these 2 pictures are, and she's like, there's no difference. It's exactly like that. This entire game is you're going through the attic and you're looking for differences. The first floor is your baseline. This is what the attic looks like normally. Now, as you traverse through the floors, there can be differences, there may not be differences, and your job is to find the anomaly in the attic if there is one. And you snap a picture, and as it says, it reveals memories, and this is how the story of the game actually unfolds, is through memories, through pictures, and this is where we get into it. However, you asked if it made me feel uneasy or tense. At first, I was, it's not going to be scary. This game is not going to do anything. It's a damn cat horror game. And then I was wrong. I was very wrong. This game made me jump out of my seat so damn much. It scared the shit out of me. There's a lot of jump scares in this game. And then I started to feel uneasy as I kept going through the floors, especially when I think there might not be an anomaly. And then the game so graciously jump scares the hell out of you if you're wrong and there is an anomaly. So it definitely is good at making an uneasy nature.
And how many floors did you say you had to traverse?
There are 55 floors to go through within the game, plus the finale floor.
So with so many floors and it being the attic, did you feel claustrophobic or did you feel repetitive with it?
It gets claustrophobic once things within. I don't want to spoil too much because there is some interesting things, but for anyone who has played any of these games or an SCP game or hell, even Lethal Company, there's sometimes creatures that will start to follow you if you are not looking at it. And I think that's when the claustrophobia starts to get put into place, because there is a creature in this game that will start to chase you around if you are not looking directly at it. And with the attic being so enclosed, it makes it a really interesting cat and mouse game when you're trying to find the anomaly while also trying to avoid getting hit, because there is actually dying in this game and so on. I also do want to mention that I did play this game on story mode. There is a chase mode as well where you are consistently being chased throughout the 55 floors and you have to get to the end without getting hit. Whereas in the story mode, there's more scripted chase events that happen. So there is a challenge mode if you really are desiring it.
A cat and mouse game. I saw what you did there. That's pretty funny.
I'm clever.
So with it being only in the attic, was the story clear?
Yes. So that is where I was. Bombay says, good, it has an easy slider for Octane. You are paying attention to the podcast, good sir. But so, yes, I think the story is very clear. Now, granted, it might take a little bit to start to piece together what the story is. And if you miss it, I'm not going to spoil how many anomalies are in the game, because then that might tell you some things, but you can miss anomalies and you do miss pieces of the story if you do miss an anomaly. That being said, I think the story is very intriguing. This game revolves a lot around grief and how someone may process grief after an event unfolded. And I think the thing that really surprised me the most is, as I barreled towards the finale of this game, the ending became really messed up. Like, I did not expect that this game to have hands as it does. Like, this game has the jump scares. It has I think, a very human story about grief, and I think it's told in a very interesting way for what this game is going for, with the ending really solidifying how messed up this actually is. This is a really messed up ending that really took me by surprise.
Did the slower pace affect your experience? Because it seems like it's not a fast-paced game.
No, and I think the cadence of the game matches what they were supposed to be going for. I think if it was any faster, I think it might ruin the experience, because I think you want to take in your surroundings as deeply as you can, because you need to be so aware of what's around you in order to find the differences.
Sure. Did you ever feel lost or unsure what to do?
Come on, man, you're in an addict. You're not gonna get lost in here. It's one little area. I mean, in terms of like not knowing what to do, some of the anomalies are pretty difficult to find, I would say. There are very clever hiding spots, and you have to be like very particular, and you have to go through like comb through it very finely in order to figure it out.
Nice. Did the minimalism help or hurt the immersion?
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, it's you're taking a look at it. It's really the attic. There's 55 floors of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot here, so it is a minimalist game.
Yeah.
Did you feel that was a negative towards the immersion of it being a horror game, because you're seeing the same floor?
No, because you know, it's one of those things. It's funny enough that we just talked about bottle episodes and how like Iron Lung's like a bottle episode and being in that one area. I think the game is clever with the minimalism that it has. I don't think you can definitely do this story a million different ways, and I think you could get to the same conclusion a million different ways. However, I think this is a unique enough way of doing it that, you know, it's kind of like PT in a sense, where it's going through that same level over and over and over again, and it's just like you feel like you're going crazy by the end of it. So I think it really leans in on the psychological horror aspect of it fairly well. And I don't think this game could have played any other way. I think with what it was trying to accomplish, the minimalistic aspect works best here. I think if this was expanded to anything else, it might ruin what the title was going for.
So, with what you just said, would you say this was more a psychological or an atmospheric horror? Because I'm into the horror.
It's definitely more of a psychological horror, given the state of the protagonist's mental health, what the protagonist is going through, what you're uncovering. And I think by the time you reach the finale and you get the full retrospect of what this game was about, it is full on psychological horror paired with, the traditional jump scare horror. There's a lot of cheap jump scares in here, but they're effective enough. They work, and it definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat. But there is an atmosphere to it too. I think attics are always creepy, no matter whose attic you go into. I think attics always have that stigma about it, so there is that atmospheric portion to it.
2 more questions. One, would you replay it?
No, I don't think I would replay this. I mean, I am curious about the chase mode. But me being an achievement hunter is one of the main reasons why I would go replay this game. The achievement list is very easy. You get all the achievements in one playthrough. You don't really need to even get all the anomalies to fully get the achievement list. So I don't think I would go back, especially with a lot of redacted games coming up that we're going to have to play and review here. So I just don't think it's in the cards. But there is some replay value, especially with the 2 modes. But before we go any further, there are a couple qualms that I do want to talk about, because I went through a lot of positives. I have hit some bugs within the game. One of them being, I do think the save state system needs a little bit of work. There was points where I thought I had a checkpoint. So like, for example, I had reached like floor 22. It said it was saving. Then it saved, and then I actually ended up dying, and then it reverted me back to floor 14. So it felt like a false sense of security with the save state. Also, when I exited the game and reloaded it back up, it put me back to floor 14 after reaching like the floor 25, and it said saving. So I think the save state system was a little bugged for me. The other thing that I want to talk about is you can't pause the game. There is a menu that pops up, but it does not pause the game inherently. Now, that could be a design decision, but however, I think it should probably pause the game. So that is a critique of mine, especially if you need to go use the bathroom or if something's chasing you in the game, or et cetera. Like, I think that should be there. When I did die, it did wipe my cat customization, and I was very bummed about that. So I had Corn, the cat, for the 25 floors. I died, and then it reverted back to the original cat. So that was a pretty big bug for me, because I wanted to keep my cat customization. And from my understanding, what I can find in the game, there was no way to customize the cat after the initial start of the game. So I couldn't even go back and like fix what my cat looked like. So that was a little disappointing. I do think the voice acting was fine enough. It's not so much of a critique. It's a small indie game, so I'm going to give it a pass. So yeah, I think those were some of my big critiques. Also, even though it has ultra wide support, some of the text did get cut off a little bit. Also, at points, my audio bugged out a little bit, but it wasn't too egregious. It's just like when I was trying to hunt for an anomaly, I was supposed to be hearing something, and it just it wouldn't register, or it would kind of bug out. So there was a couple of bugs that I did hit in the game, but it did not ruin the overall experience. The overall experience was still pretty fluid and solid throughout the whole thing.
I have 2 questions. Worth $9?
It's definitely worth the $7.99 right now. I think when you get up to a $10 game, especially given that it's an hour, it could be up to 2 hours if you do 2 playthroughs. I think that's in terms of the value is in the eye of the beholder. I think right now at the cost, yeah, it's definitely worth it. At $10, I think it would be still worth it. I think it's a good enough time if you're into these kinds of games. I don't know if an anomaly horror hunting game is for everyone out there. I mean, this was my first time playing one, and I was genuinely surprised with how interesting they are, and it definitely got me more intrigued into this subgenre of horror to to do. Bombay says I spent way more on games. I probably played less than an hour. That is true. I've probably done the same thing. So yeah, I think for the time, I think also it's a sole developer. Go support the sole dev. I think it's pretty great what they were able to achieve here. So yeah, I think it's at the end it's probably worth it.
Brass tacks right now. 1 out of 10. What do you rank it?
7. I think this game is a 7 out of 10. I think it is a good video game. And I definitely think it fits well into this subgenre of horror from what I can tell. But yeah, I think people should check out the 18th Attic. Like I said, it's a quick playthrough. It has a very intriguing story. I think the story is much more surprising than what I had initially anticipated, because I really thought it was just going to be rolling through attics and finding stuff. But yeah, it's intimate. It's scary. It has good atmosphere, and there's a cat that you can pet that won't let you die, which is really fun. So yeah, go check it out. It is the 18th Attic, a paranormal anomaly hunting game. It is on Steam, and like I said, the sale ends on February 6th, so you can go pick it up for $7.99 right now. You can also go check out Steel Krill's Studios other games on Steam. They have a whole bunch of titles out right now. So if you like this style, go check out what else they have.
Perfect.
So, all right. Before we transition into the open world portion of this podcast, I'd like to take a quick word from our website, activereloadgaming.com.
Got games you don't play anymore? Turn that collection into cash at activereloadgaming.com. It's fast, it's easy, and you get paid quick. Or if you are looking to buy, check us out on eBay or scroll through our Games by Console. Find us at Active Reload.
And we are back. So the second half of this podcast is something I would have been wanting to talk about, which is open world titles. This is a genre that you and I play probably way too much. And, open world has been around forever. It's gone through many different iterations and so on. Before we go, Bombay says, one-man dev teams are crazy. Good for them for doing their thing and not letting anyone hold them back. Yeah, and I think that's also the power of indie games. You are able to go and experiment with something like this. Like, just go flex your muscles, see what's to offer. There's a whole bunch of tools out there for people. You can go make your own game. Just go do it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you have an idea, just roll with it. If it sucks, it sucks. If it's good, it's good. But that's how you learn. So yeah, I definitely think it's cool that we're seeing a lot more one-person teams out there just kind of doing stuff and having fun with it.
It seems like Unity is an easy way to get into it.
I've experimented with Unity quite a bit. I built my own game in college. It wasn't great, but it was a 2D platformer. And I think the tools are there. It's easy enough for people to pick up on. But yeah, just go do it. That's my advice. That being said, so yeah, open world titles. So what kind of sparked this whole topic is, have you seen the new Crimson Desert trailer that came out, the open world overview?
Incredible. Yeah.
And you and I have obviously played Crimson Desert at PAX West last year, and we were kind of blown away by this game. So before we even get into the open world shift that I want to talk about, first I want to ask you this. This is a 15-minute trailer that they went over the open world. There is a lot, and I mean a lot in this game. At this point, with all the footage they keep showing, is Crimson Desert too good to be true?
At this point, because we're so jaded and we've been burned so much, it is actually making me think that. Like, I didn't think it before this 15-minute trailer because I played it.
Yeah.
But and again, as you all know, when you go play at these conventions and so forth, it's limited of what they let you see. So I was super stoked about it until I watched this, and it still looks incredible. But I am saying in the back of my head, is it too good to be true?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, when going back to like conventions and allowing you to see the thing, like, from my understanding, the studio Pearl Abyss is super confident about this game. And it's rare that on a show floor, they allow you to play an hour of a game. That is rare. And they just said, here's an hour of the demo. You're getting one long mission. That's a siege. And you're going to go fight a boss. And we got to see a lot of the combat systems within the game and how that flows. But the thing with this open world, is there are so many systems in this game. And this game is literally every game known to man in one video game at this point. And I'm not even like being like doing hyperbole. This is a combination of so many different titles that I had not anticipated. And they are going for something that is, at this point, I will say this. If this game hits the way that this is all showing to be, this is going to be a generational title. Because at this rate, I don't think Crimson Desert is going to land in the middle. It's either this game is amazing or this game is going to be at. And I think just given everything that they're showing, I am blown away by the presentation of this open world and all of the in-depth systems and mechanics and genres and whatever they're doing. Like, this game is Zelda, it's Witcher, it's Elden Ring, it's Skyrim. Like, it's everything that I have loved about open world games shoved into one package. And they're claiming that this is going to be a massive open world, one of the biggest open worlds that we've ever seen in a video game. And they're also telling there's 3 playable characters now, and there's going to be varying mechanics between all 3. What were you going to say?
Their description was the map is bigger than Red Dead, and it's more detailed than Red Dead. That was their description.
Which is crazy because Red Dead 2 is one of the biggest and most detailed open world games to ever have come out. And if this is like the quality of Red Dead 2 with every mechanic that they got going on, because every mechanic looks like to be firing on all cylinders here, it's going to be an interesting video game. It's going to be an interesting conversation. It can definitely be a game of the year contender. But the whole thing is with this that I want to talk about, in 2026, I feel like we're going to start seeing a major open world genre shift. Now, we can go back into the history of gaming, where it seems like every so few years, we get a genre-defining open world game. Let's look at the last 7 years, for example. 2023, we had Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is an open world RPG, did massive things for the genre, just given the flexibility of the game, literally being able to do whatever you want, all the NPCs you can talk to, the storytelling, all the choices. Like, it was a game that really embodied what D&D is. And that was embodying what D&D is in a video game is extremely hard to do. And Baldur's Gate 3 nailed it. We go back to 2022. Elden Ring shook up the open world genre by a lot. And we go back, then you have Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which allowed the open world genre to show that you do not need to be guardrailed into following a story in an open world. You can go off and explore however you want and really embody that adventure of it, where you see something, you go to it. Red Dead Redemption 2 is lauded to be one of the best open world, if not the best open world game of all time, given how in depth the details of the world were, even to like how horses, you know what, react to the weather. Like, they really got detailed in Red Dead 2. Even before that, like, we go back into 2011, Skyrim absolutely changed the open world. That being said, my whole point being is it's usually only one title that takes up the open world genre and kind of pushes the boundaries forward. This year, it seems like we're going to have 3 open world titles that are going to be potentially genre defining. Those 3 are Crimson Desert, Fable, and obviously Grand Theft Auto 6. We can get the easy one out of the way. Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar has always been genre defining in some capacity. Even if you're not a big fan of Grand Theft Auto, even if you're not a big fan of Red Dead Redemption, there is no arguing what they have done for the open world genre. Bombay says the only thing that seems to be missing from this game is Roman calling his cousin bowling, like in GTA 4. Or the swing set glitch, for those who remember that. So I think Grand Theft Auto is the easiest one. At this point, I can't even fathom how it's going to change the genre again. Like, what do you think GTA 6 is even going to do it? Like, because I know there was a lot of leaks and there's been a lot of talks, but if all these leaks are true, being like 1,000 buildings that you can go into with so many different details, like, it's going to show freedom at a high tier that we've never seen before.
I think one of the biggest things that I've seen for GTA 6 that's going to change the genre and also change the way that you play the game is the way that you get hurt. Bones don't heal properly, makes you run slower, things of that nature, that if you don't take care of the wounds, they affect you in the gameplay. And how many times you'd go, flying down and try to hit a ramp and go over buildings and go crashing and go, that was part of the fun. But that's going to make it a little bit different now. And, my Rambo style running in and getting shot up, that's going to change the way that you do it, because that will affect your long-term gameplay. I think that's really crazy when you think about it. I don't know of any game that I can recall that's done that in the past.
Yeah, I mean, not to that level. And obviously Red Dead 2 has had stuff similar.
Scars that stay with you and stuff, but nothing that affected the way that the mechanics of the way your character plays.
Yeah. So I think GTA 6 is kind of more of a boring conversation, because we all know it's going to do insane shit. I kind of want to lean in more on Fable and Crimson Desert. And I want to start with Crimson Desert first, because I'm running down here a list of the features that would just completely change how we view open world. The thing that they keep suggesting is that this open world is designed around movement and set pieces. And it's not just walking between icons, but climbing, leaping, gliding, and stumbling into chaos. They want this game to feel extremely well paced, that this world is full of adventure and not just walking from point A to point B, which I think a lot of open world games try to do, but I think also fall into the traps of, okay, we're just going from point A to point B. So if we have set pieces between each movements, it's going to get crazy. And it's just going to keep this game fresh and definitely go into the 100-hour territory that, we're anticipating. Also, the thing that is really interesting with this game for a fantasy RPG is they are much more combat first than they are RPG first. And you and I, after playing the demo, I think can attest to that the combat system flowed like a fighting game. Now, you have to stick with me for the audience. And what I mean by that is you aren't just mutton bashing, mashing. Now you're going to be we're mutton bashing over here, taking the muttons and bashing. No. You're not just button mashing to do stuff. You are actually pulling off combinations like a fighting game would. There was moments where I felt like I was kind of playing Mortal Kombat by doing, my X into the right trigger to the right bumper into the A in order to pull off a very specific move that was good for this situation, which I think this is a kind of a first for a fantasy RPG where it's this in-depth of a combat that is taking systems from a fighting game.
When they were actually doing the demo, they had pretty much somebody from the team standing there helping you, because when I first started doing the combat, I'm like, oh my goodness, man, there's just too much for me to do here. I don't know that I'm going to like it. But once they explained it and you saw what to do, it became very fluid. So as much as you say that, and I can understand where you're equating it to a fighting game, a Mortal Kombat, but I don't think that it landed as hard as the Mortal Kombat, always remembering the combos. I thought that once you saw what to do, it became very second nature and fluid to do.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're talking about, but I think one of my fears with this game is we only touch the surface of the combat system. It could get crazier than what we played.
Correct.
And
it could be too much.
Yeah. And that's what I'm a little bit fearful of this game is at a certain point, let me ask you this is a whole side topic, but when does a game become too much? And I'm not just saying combat, I'm just saying a game overall, because given everything that they're showing here, at a certain point, are you saying, okay, this is too much? Because what I thought was a fantasy RPG also has mechs that you can pilot with laser guns and everything. So it's when is it that we need to stop putting in ideas and we need to do this? Or is this just the world that they're building and they're like, fuck it, we go?
Here's my answer to that.
Here's the mech. Here's the mech.
Yeah. Here's the answer to that. I don't know that there is a definitive too much. I think, from my personal preference and experience, is when it's rinse and repeat constantly, and that you could tell that it's crowbarred in there, that's when it becomes too much. And I'm going to use and I'm Assassin's Creed person through and through, but I thought Shadows, there was just too much of the side quests. It's almost like they wanted to bloat the game with the same rinse and repeat. That's, from my opinion, when it becomes too much. When you start doing this and there's something fresh and new in the story and keep putting it in, even if it is a mech in there, I don't think it's too much, as long as it's relevant to the story and it's not just, hey, let's crowbar this in to make it a 100-hour game. You can tell we're at the point in gaming that you can tell when stuff was crowbarred in just to bloat it up. You can tell.
Yeah.
So that's where I think, I don't know that there's a definitive answer to say, oh, here's the line where it's too much and here's the line when it's just enough. I think it's what they're putting into it.
Yeah. Also, like, the one thing that I read, which I think is very interesting, is they made their own proprietary engine for this game to allow for all this craziness. Like, this is a completely new engine. It's not running on Unreal. It's not running in Unity or any of that. Like, so the reason why all this crazy shit is allowed is because they built the engine for this game. So also, hello, Cherry Tomato Boy. Cherry Tomato Boy says they did not get an at everyone in the Discord notifications. So they just got here. That's on you.
Well, welcome, Cherry. But it's every 4 p.m. Pacific every Monday. So
there you go.
But I did read where they were trying to, or they were thinking about using Unreal 5 and it couldn't achieve. And then there was a big story that they said about the Unreal Engine 5, because it has so much bloat behind it that has to run, that's why they had to build their own engine. And they were talking about the Unreal stutters, which
I do actually, I want to kind of piggyback off that, which is, they said they're in the optimization phase now. This game has gone gold. This is going to release on March 19th. Like, they have confirmed that it's just optimizing now. Are you afraid of this game's performance on console? Because once again, how we talk about how every so often we have an open world genre defining game. Every so often, I can't speak today. We have a game that tests the limits of your hardware. We had Crisis.
Is it going to be the new Cyberpunk? Yeah.
Is it going to be Cyberpunk? Is it the new Cyberpunk? Is it the new Crisis? I'm trying to think of another title that fit into that.
They were like two big ones.
Tomb Raider at one point, like Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because they had the first use of like ray tracing, path tracing in it. But all that being said, are you worried about the current hardware and this being able to run? And we can even look at the Xbox Series S. Obviously, full disclosure, I work at Xbox, and none of my opinions reflect the company, but the Series S has struggled with some of these higher quality games and has delayed some. So, are you worried for this game on consoles?
No, because I think that if you're going to make this generational game, you had to have tested it thoroughly on everything. I don't think it's going to run bad on the Xbox X or the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, and they have said that this game is PS5 Pro enhanced as well, and that's going to be the best console version. I think I might want to play this game on PC just to test the hardware and see it on the ultra wide. Bombay says as long as it's not Fallout 76, we are good.
So, I like Fallout 76. It was a dog when it came out, but they made up for it. I was playing that last year for about the solid year, and it's good. It's good.
So the thing is, the other thing that Crimson Desert is promising is systems that create unique stories when they're allowed to. The reveal in the trailer keeps hinting at a world that wants to react, stuff like factions, roaming events, emergent trouble, the like. Maybe not on the same level as the Elder Scrolls title, but still. Even if, so they're promising a very reactive world as well, which I also want to kind of pull into Fable, which Fable is promising an even more reactive world than I think this game is, with 1,000 NPCs that are all voice acted, all have their individual storylines, and can all be romanceable. So, which is kind of leading me to the thesis of this whole question. Are we seeing a major shift in what open world titles can be? Because even if we look at last year, some of the open world titles the way it had were Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon, Assassin's Creed. They all felt kind of the same of games that they were already trying to be. Now we're having 3 massive titles coming out. Are we going to see a major shift And are we going to see more games after try to follow suit of what these games are trying to be? And then out of the three, which one do you think is going to push the medium the furthest for what they're trying to accomplish?
Well, let's be honest, from a developer point of view, open world games create longevity and monetization. So for them to jump into that, it's worth it. But which one's going to push it more? Now, I guess I don't know what the measurement stick is, because we all know GTA 6 is going to blow the sales away from both of those. It's going to be more than both of them put together. But if I had to pick one, I might say Crimson Desert. Like, I just think that you hit the nail on the head. It's taking every game and putting it into one. I think that's a massive undertaking.
I think I would agree. I think Crimson Desert has the opportunity to push the medium the furthest.
Correct.
Now, I think where my trepidation lies with the game, where I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, is if this was a Rockstar game, or I would say, you know what? Yes, I fully trust this. I believe that what they're showing is going to happen. This developer is relatively unknown still. Pearl Abyss has only made one other title, which is Black Desert, which was an MMO. So I think they have a lot to prove with this title. And if they prove it, they're going to be a household name. Mark my words. I think from here on out, if this game proves to be what it's setting out to do, you're gonna see a lot more from Pearl Abyss coming forward. You're gonna see a lot more people applauding them and putting them up there into S tier status.
But now, this is where you have to give them an edge. We played it.
Yeah.
There's a difference there. Promising the world, but sitting down and playing with it for an hour. And I know it was only a small sliver of it, but that hour was pretty polished.
Yes.
It ran very well. It had everything that they're saying is going to be in this. Like, you feel that.
Yeah.
So, I know you're trying to be a little bit skeptical on it, but I got to give less skepticism because of playing it.
Now, what I want to say is, I think in terms of an RPG, though, I think Fable has the opportunity of pushing what an RPG could be to another way further than it has been. Because if it is truly the features that Fable is talking about, especially with 1,000 NPCs that all have their individual storylines, and just the amount that you are able to take on and influence the world pretty drastically, getting to the minute details of being a landlord, and you can evict people if you don't like the money that they're paying, and then you can create a homelessness problem within your game, or even killing the giant in the beginning of the game and affecting home prices and the economy. Like, I think in terms of a role-playing game and what it means to embody your character, because I think with Crimson Desert, they already said they want to be much more action and combat system oriented rather than RPG oriented. So I think in terms of combat and that style and flair, I think Crimson Desert can push one way. Whereas with an RPG, a role-playing game, I think Fable is going to be able to push to a whole nother side where you're going to see a lot of games trying to mimic what Fable has done. Now, as we've been erring on the side of caution, this isn't the first time a Fable game has promised a lot. we can be real. Fable is notorious for promising a lot. But
that was Lionsgate, though.
Yes, this is a new developer. I mean, not new, but it's a new person undertaking the IP, and we haven't seen Fable in quite a long time. So yeah, I think as an RPG standpoint, and I want to be very clear, RPG, I think last year we saw Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 push it a little bit further than it already has been. I think Fable can really exceed what an RPG can be if they nail it. And then Grand Theft Auto, I think it's just going to take the overall concept of an open world and really just say, this is how crazy you can get, with just the details. So I think there is three pillars that we're going to see the shifts. I think we're going to see with Crimson Desert how vast and how many systems and features you can pack into an open world game. I think that's what's going to prove. Fable is the RPG aspect. How far can we push in a role-playing game and the role-playing mechanics? And Grand Theft Auto is going to push and say, here's how detailed an open world can get. The minute, you have a bicep tear or something like that. How detailed can we get? And I think those are the three pillars we're going to see shift in the open world space.
And I think Playground Games, again, is going to hit this out of the park. I am going to play all three of them, but I am super excited about Fable because I've been a Fable fan since it came out, and I'm glad they brought it back, and I think that they're going to hit this out of the park.
Ranked 3 in terms of anticipation.
Oh, boy. I'm super hyped about Grand Theft Auto. How can't you be? I'm a Grand Theft Auto fan. This is tough. I might put GTA number 1.
I feel like it's your 2 and 3 that you're getting struggling at. It's like, which one are you more excited for? Because you're also a Fable fan.
I'm going to have to put Fable at number 2 and Crimson Desert at number 3. The only reason I'm saying that is Grand Theft Auto and Fable are proven commodities.
Yeah.
Crimson Desert, I have nothing going off of but what we just played the hour. But so that's my rationale behind it. But I'm going to take a day off of work for GTA. I'm not going to take a day off work for Fable and E-Day, of course, E-Day.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to take a day off work for Fable or for Crimson Desert.
Yeah. I think for me, my ranking would be Crimson Desert, GTA 6, Fable. I think
Crimson Desert, GTA 6, Fable. Okay.
Yeah. Because I just think, you're right. Grand Theft Auto is a proven entity, and I think that's why I'm in terms of anticipation, I'm knocking it to my second, because Crimson Desert, it's the unknown that excites me. Rockstar is gonna deliver. Like there is no question about that. I know it's going to be probably the best rated game of the year. I know it's probably going to win Game of the Year. I know it's going to be crazy. It's the unknown of Crimson Desert that really excites me, and that's why it's my most anticipated of these 3 titles right now. Fable, I liked Fable, but of the 3, I only really love 2. I'm not that big of a fan of 3, and 1 has really showed its age when I played it. So that's why it's there, but it has a lot of potential. Even in terms of open world games, I just want to throw in a mention of Forza Horizon 6. Like, I think that's going to absolutely blow the water out of what a racing game can be. So if you really think about it there's 4 pillars of open world games that can really do a major shift this year.
I'm excited about Forza, and I said it in our last podcast. I'm not a racing game guy, and I am definitely going to download Forza and play that because it's in Japan. I like the open world. I like how you can seamlessly get into the races and out. I'm going to download it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be on Game Pass. I'm definitely going to give it a download as well and see what it's all about. But do you have any other thing that you want to mention about open world titles this year? Is there any other open world titles coming out that you're aware of that you want to highlight?
Not that I can think of, but I am an open world fan. Like, if you're looking at a genre, I'll take a sandbox open world any day because, and I just finished Ghost of Yote, which is open world. I just like going at my own pace. Sometimes when it's an open world like this, that's exactly what it is. You get entrenched in the world. You are actually playing more of the movie, in my opinion, when it comes to an open world. So I see myself excluding Gears of War because that's not open world, but I entrench myself in that world. Open world is really where I like to play my most because I like to just let myself go and get immersed and into it and look at every tree and every rock that they do and talk to every NPC. So I understand where the appeal comes.
Last question before we start closing this down, because this kind of loops back to a podcast we had 2 weeks ago, I think. If we'll hone in on Crimson Desert and Fable specifically, and I'll even throw in a game that I want to mention, the Blood of Dawnwalker, which is a new game by X-Witcher devs. It looks really cool, and they're kind of doing a Majora's Mask situation with that open world where you have 30 days to figure out the game, and like you can't do every quest. So like I think it's really cool. It's a vampire game. It's a vampire open world RPG. Looks very cool. But let's just look at Fable, Crimson Desert for the point of this question. If these games prove and they hit exactly as the developers are intending, how do I want to word this? Do you think Elder Scrolls 6 has a lot of heavy lifting to do? Because Skyrim was a genre setter. But everyone knows that the Bethesda RPG is quickly falling to the thing of the past in terms of its designs. Will Elder Scrolls 6 be in trouble if Crimson Desert and Fable prove that what they can do for an RPG?
Yes, it will 100% be in trouble. One, since the last Skyrim, the bar has been raised.
I mean, and we saw Starfield in 2023. Like, we know what a modern Bethesda title looks like.
But when you take a look at the engine, and I think a lot of it has to do with the engine, like, I don't think that they can push that engine any further. And when you ever look at what Crimson Desert looks like, I mean, for all that packed in, that thing looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I do think that the bar is going to be super high, that they can't sit on the laurels of, hey, we're Bethesda. This is, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. Look what we've done before. It's are you doing for me lately type mentality.
Yeah. So I agree. I think, especially given how Starfield looked and played in the modern era. I mean, coming out the same year as Baldur's Gate 3 it just kind of really showed the outdatedness of Bethesda's design philosophies. So we'll see. Hopefully this makes them reconsider some aspects going forward. But all that being said, now that's today. This was the Father and Son Gaming Podcast. You can find us here every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, where we'll break down the topics that we're feeling about talking about and doing reviews. I think we got more reviews coming up. I know we just had keys come in. I think you just had a key come in. So I don't know if you're going to be playing it this week for next week. So we'll have to talk about that and figuring out the topic. Yeah, Bombay says 2026 is going to be a good year for games. Yeah,
Yes,
this could be an even crazier year than last year, the more I think about it, which is not an easy feat to pull off, but I think it's really shaping up to be like that. So yeah, I think more reviews are on the way, depending on what keys are coming in from people. But I hope you all enjoyed the 18th Attic review plus the open world discussion. I think it's going to be a very exciting year. You can follow us on all of our socials. Once again, as a reminder, we are on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky at Active Reload Gaming, and Spotify, and then Twitch or Twitter/X. We're at Active Rel Gaming. That is with an REL, Active Rel Gaming. So you can find us there. You can also hit that QR code in the top left, scan it, and hop into the Discord and start chatting with us. Throughout this week, I think I'm going to be doing a stream of a game called Ardenfall, which is a new beta that came out on Steam. It's a new indie RPG that looks to be trying to capture the essence of Morrowind. So I'm definitely going to check that out, as a key has been so graciously provided to us from Spellcast Studios to go and check it out. So stay tuned for a stream of that game from me. And then this Friday, we also have the news. So we're going to be collecting a whole bunch of news articles. I don't even know what the fuck's happening anymore, to put it lightly. There's articles that broke over the weekend about stuff that's unfathomable, but we might talk about it. So yeah, we're going to be collecting the articles and talk about what we think you should know about. So all that being said, we hope each and every one of you have a great rest of your week. Have a great rest of your Monday. The East Coast people have a great night, and also to the Pacific Coast people as well. The night is just getting started. So we will see you all next time. Have a great one, everyone.